Now, Bernie Sanders is doing something that no other Democrat is currently doing, traveling to places where Donald Trump had won the majority of votes and actually talking to those people. Now, and the results, of course, are surprising and actually hopeful. Now, one of the clips I want to start out with is when they had the discussion about healthcare and how many people in McDowell County, where Bernie Sanders was speaking, actually depend on Medicaid and actually do appreciate the ACA. Let's take a look.
So in southern West Virginia, so many patients were able to finally get health care with the Affordable Care Act. There was a lot of resistance to that, because everybody thought anything tagged to President Obama was not necessarily a good thing, but it ended up being tremendous for us.
Do you have patients that went through that trajectory of beginning to say, I don't like Obamacare, I don't like this president, to I'm on Medicaid now and I'm actually happy this thing is here?
I don't know that they know to appreciate it as much as they should. I can tell you from the time that that transition 8 years ago started till now, I probably had maybe a quarter of my patients were Medicaid. And now I would say probably 75% of my patients are Medicaid. So that can tell you right now just the tremendous influence it's had, particularly for maternity care.
How many people in the room are either on Medicaid or someone they know or love is on Medicaid? Raise your hand.
Someone we know or love, absolutely.
All right, so stop right there and look at all those people, man. Almost the entire room had their hands up. There's a room of a few hundred people from what it looked like. And a lot of these people had their hands up. They were being helped by Medicaid. No, that's awesome. Being helped by Medicaid is what it was supposed to do. This is what we want. We want health care for everyone. We want health care for poor people. Now, Trump and the Republicans, they look at that and they say, no, let's cut it. That's what Trump care. That's what Ryan care actually does. When they say they're going to reform Medicaid, what they're doing is they're talking about block granting it to the states. Well, they will almost certainly cut it because it will not have enough money. It will not have enough funding from the federal government to be able to pay for everybody who needs it. So that's it on healthcare. Now, in this next video, Sanders talks about the need for universal healthcare and the need to save the ACA and to expand it. And I want you to take a look. I want you to pay attention to the response from the room because this is really, really fascinating. Take a look.
Senator, I'd like to hear what you think about what the legislation that's proposed right now would do to the folks in McDowell County, given just how many people are enrolled on Medicaid.
Well, let me be honest and start off and say my view is different than most in Congress. I happen to believe that health care is a right, and we should move toward a Medicare for all program.
So already, a lot of people on Medicaid, and you actually get a big applause line for Medicare for all. Only Bernie Sanders can make a room of Trump supporters, Trump voters, clap for what Republicans have been railing against as evil socialized medicine. Seems like it's kind of a popular plan. Now, the next clip that I want to show you has to deal with coal mining, which has been, unfortunately for the people in McDowell County, has been declining in recent years. Let's take a look at that.
Philip, you just got hired as a coal miner, am I right? Yep. Coal took a beating, 2010, 2015. Tell me what did that look like here in McDowell? What happened to the coal industry?
It looked pretty bad because that's where most of the income for a lot of men that work in this county comes from, is coal mining. And if you're not mining coal, you're doing a secondary job that doesn't pay nowhere near as much. And you can't support your family. You can't take care of what you have to take care of. So I'm happy to be back to work underground in the mines.
Were you working in mines before?
Yeah, I've been underground for 10 years and then got laid off. Had to take a secondary job. It doesn't pay, doesn't have hospitalization or nothing. Now I have all that again. And I just hope that it lasts so I can take care of me and my family.
What was that like to go from being underground, working the mines, having a steady coal mining job, to being laid off and having to take a second job?
I didn't like it. I didn't prefer it at all because I love being a coal miner. That's what's in my blood and that's what I do and I'll do till I die. But it just doesn't feel right doing anything else. And a lot of coal miners say they love it. I do, but we do it for the money. We do it for the hospitalization. We do it for what it gives us. Not because it's a glamorous job or anything like that. It's for the money. That's why we do it.
Would you do something, if there were jobs here in McDowell County that paid what coal mining paid, gave the benefits coal mining paid, would people take those jobs?
Absolutely.
Are there any jobs?
So, I love this guy. So this guy he's a regular person. He's a coal miner. He's working hard. He wants to just take care of his family. And that's what he said. We do it for the money. We mine coal so we can take care of our families, right? They do a dangerous job, and they're proud of the work that they do. And it's the only job that allows them to be able to take care of their families. He said the other secondary jobs in these areas, they don't pay anywhere near what the coal mines do. They don't give us medical benefits. They don't do anything for us. So we have no choice. And so we're proud of the work that we do, but it's also the only work in that area. That is a bit of a problem. Now, let me juxtapose that. Let me bring it back to the election here. Now, when people like Hillary Clinton come down to West Virginia and they tell these coal miners, they tell people like Philip that I'm going to shut you down. I'm going to make sure all these coal jobs are gone. What do you think is going to be the reaction? What do you think? Honestly. Look, what some people don't understand is that you can't just go and shut these jobs down. You got to have something to replace them. As Philip said, if there were other jobs that paid just as well, that allowed people to take care of their families, they would do them. They would be more than happy to do them. And that's kind of the point that we're trying to make. You can't leave people behind. We have to progress as a nation, yes, but you can't leave people behind. You have to bring them with us. Now, Bernie Sanders, he's going to talk a bit about that, and he's going to talk a bit about climate change, and I want you to pay attention to how he handles this. Let's take a look.
So, Senator, coal, I think, is on a long-term decline.
Yes.
What do you tell the folks here for whom, like Philip, that is the one job that pays a decent wage and gives benefit?
Well, let me be honest and say two things. I think, and disagree with me if you think I'm wrong on this, but coal in this area has been in decline, I think, since the 70s and in the 80s. It's not anything that's new.
Yeah.
And I think, and second of all, and I know not everybody, will be happy with me saying this, but I happen to believe, unlike the president, that climate change is real and it is a threat to our. But having said that, I don't hold this gentleman and the coal miners responsible for climate change. All right? In fact, these guys are heroes. I remember I grew up in a rent-controlled apartment house in Brooklyn, New York, and I will never forget the piles of coal. I don't know if it came from here or wherever it came. You kept my house warm. Thank you. All right? So you are not my enemy. But what we have to do is, and in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, what we have to do is to say the choice is not transforming our energy system to protect the planet and throwing people out on the street. The choice is reinvesting in communities that have been devastated by changes in energy and make sure folks have decent paying jobs. And we can do that. We are not a poor country.
That right there. You are not my enemy. I believe in climate change. But that coal miner, Philip, not a bad guy. He's not our enemy, and that's what we have to understand. Bernie Sanders is 100% right on this. These people are trying to take care of their families. And what we're trying to do, or what we have to do, is to make sure they can still do that while we move to cleaner sources of energy, where we can move away from coal. You've got to have the jobs there. You've got to let them be able to take care of their families. We can do that while not destroying the environment. There are ways that we can do that. Jobs that we can do. Things that we can invest in. And people we can invest in. Hardworking people like Philip. And we're not doing that. But this is the message that we have to send. The message of Bernie Sanders. We can change this. And we can make sure that we don't leave people behind. You have to invest in them. You have to invest in their communities. You have to give a shit. Many of you wonder why Bernie Sanders keeps going back to this place. You know why? It's because he cares. He cares about these people. He gives a shit. Now, let me give you an example here of somebody who didn't care. Okay? You remember the primary with Hillary Clinton? When she was talking about Flint, right? Oh, we got to do something with Flint. We got to do something with Flint, right? Now, let me ask you, during the campaign, did she ever go back to Flint? No, she didn't. She didn't go back to Flint. She's not in Flint now. She hasn't said anything about Flint. And maybe it's best that she stays in the shadows because she's not exactly most popular. But maybe it would help if she actually goes and starts doing things like Sanders is doing. And here, Sanders, by the way, he's not running for anything. The election's over. He's got nothing to gain from this. But yet, here he is, back in McDowell County. Why? Because again, he cares about the people. He gives a shit. And I think that's really, really important. Now, finally, on that same note, I have one more video clip for you, and it's probably my favorite. Let's take a look at that.
Yes, I'm a retired UNWA miner, and I never dreamed that I'd get to thank you personally myself for the bill that you have co-sponsored and how the Senate Bill 175, the Miners Protection Act, which I'm one of those miners that will lose. I'm one of those miners that will lose his health care at the end of April if they don't pass that law. And we looked at to have the funds that we work for
And
that were promised to us taken care of. That's all we asked. And I think it's kind of ironic that a senator from the Northeast
Yes.
takes care of my benefits better than someone like Mitch McConnell.
Now, look, I did not add that caption, but holy shit, is that the perfect caption? Bernie Sanders, that's the moment you know. See, this is why Sanders is incredibly popular across the country, despite the fact that the Democrats, super unpopular. I did a poll yesterday. They have a 35% favorability rating and like a 52% unfavorability rating. Well, actually, that's Hillary Clinton. The Democrats did not fare much better. And yet, here's Bernie Sanders, one of the most popular politicians in the country. This is why. This is why. Look, Democrats, if you care at all about winning elections, or more importantly, doing policy, or at least winning elections, listen to Bernie Sanders, man. He's got Trump supporters cheering on Medicare and thanking him instead of their own, congressman, Mitch McConnell, the one that they voted for. Because Bernie Sanders actually cares. And look, they understand, too, that things like Medicare for all is good policy. They know that Mitch McConnell doesn't represent them. They understand that nobody in the two-party system is really looking out for them. It's only Sanders, Turner, Nina Turner, Tulsi Gabbard, and a handful of others who actually really care about regular working people. And the rest, man, they're in the Washington bubble. They care about politics and they care about the money. They're too busy calling their donors. for hours and hours on a day to care about their constituents. I dare any of them to come down to places like McDowell County. And there are places like that all over the country that have been devastated by neoliberal trade policies and economic disruption. There are so many places that they could go and speak to regular people, to do what Sanders has done and actually talk to them, not shill to them, right? Not speak at them, but actually speak to them. Instead of talking to consultants and pollsters, but to actually talk to real working class, regular human beings. I dare any of our politicians to do that, to do what Bernie had done. And I would guarantee that they would learn a hell of a lot more than talking to damn consultants. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.